Again, my friends, welcome once more to Leopard Street. We went to the cellar. Today, I'm carrying on from the previous video. I've got a cat attacking my leg. Yeah, Smudge is down here again as well. What I'm going to be doing is wiring this up, and again, getting into why thinking ahead would have been slightly more useful. This is Leopard Street. And Smudge, obviously. Yes, my furry little assistant here. Wee, over here. She's happy every time I put a camera at her, she moves. Yes. Anyway, never mind. Right. So, starting over here. What I need to do, I've got these two wires, and these two. These are feed 10. So ultimately, what I need to do, this is where the power comes in. There's a little bus strip over here. I'm going to take a wire off that I already have taken a wire off to feed 10 onto here. That's got to come out of here and has got to end up in these 3 brown wires. Now, I can only fit one into that little terminal. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put another terminal strip somewhere. It's got to go somewhere where it's not going to be in the way. The place I'm going to put it is about here. Essentially, these wires can reach in, and I can put the 3 frog wires onto here as well. And then I can run them from here to the appropriate relays. Yeah, so let's get on with this. I need that. I'm going to need a screwdriver, which is that. And I'm going to need a little box of screws, which bizarrely as well I can also find. Anyway, let's get this in. So yeah, so for this, I use 3mm by 16mm screws. I get these terminal blocks off Amazon. They're cheap. There's loads of places you can get them from. So it's going to go in here. It's got to work around this wire slightly. I use these screws. If I can get the thing to... That's it. Bite into the screwdriver properly. There we are. Bites eventually. Basically, these screws are long enough that they will grip this securely, but not so long they will come out the other side. Although they do come out the other side if you're not careful a little bit. There we go. As I've said before with these, when you're not using terminals, nip them up. Otherwise the screws fall out, the terminal bits fall out. So what I'm going to need is a length of wire. Now, I've got plenty of this. These are all offcuts now, or they will all be offcuts. So I'm going to do the frog wires that side, and I'm going to do the feed wires this side. So this one, cutters. Here's cutters. Always need cutters. So I'm going to do these together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of these in together. I can also put the blue wires in. Basically, some of them will fit up to here. This feed over here is not long enough. So, yay. Go forward planning. I've mentioned a few times, if anyone out there works on track planning software, adding the ability to plot and plan this side of the board, as well as the side with the track, would be really useful. Not just, oh, here's a layer and you can add some bits on it, something that will actually flip the board over, because obviously this, you're working underneath here, or at least something that gives you the ability to flip the board over if that's what you want to do. That would be useful. So that's going to go into there, around that point motor. This one is going to go into the same hole with it. And there's only 3 feeds. I can do 2 into a, well, I can actually do 3 into a single crimp. I'm not going to. I'm going to do 2 into a crimp because I've done that before and it works well. And the other one I'll do on its own. I found if you try and put 3 in, you have a problem. But yeah, this sort of thing, track planning software that has got the ability to define footprints for this sort of equipment would be really, really useful. All right, so these wires need to come together. They need to be twisted. Around here, they won't be the only thing that's twisted, but never mind. That can go into there. That can then get crimped. Yeah, something that could handle this sort of thing and also say, you will need X amount of this type of wire. That sort of stuff would actually be really, really useful to have as an addition to some planning software. Might have to have a look at something like that. They're not, well, I'll say they're not too distant future. Don't hold your breath. I'm annoyed now. Yeah. I managed to cut these in such a way that none of them are actually going to reach each other now. That is irritating. I can deal with it. What I'm going to do is put that into there. And I'm going to have to stop in a minute because that screwdriver is just about dead. But there we go. I'm going to put the other one into here. And what I'll do is I'll just put a little jumper wire across at the top. It's actually only just going to fit. Yeah, it will fit. I'm going to move the. I'm going to move this. Yay for forward planning. Yes, moral of the story there. Always work with the shortest wire first. And the reason this keeps moving around is obviously I can't put too much pressure on the board. Get that to bite into the screw. So I'm having to just be helpful if this actually did bite into the screw. Let me just get on. Come here. Screwdriver is now totally dead. Right. So what I'm going to do is go back to the manual alternative for a little bit because I want to get this. Come here. I want to get this bit done if I can. Biting. I'm going to go charge a screwdriver, then I'm going to come back. You're in the way. Well, you're in the... You don't care, do you? You're just a don't care kitten. Get the screwdriver. Just cat. Yeah, so right, screwdriver is charged. Smudge really isn't helping, but bless her, I don't think she cares. Well, actually, I don't. It's not a case of I don't think she cares. It's a case of I know she doesn't care. So she was looking like she was going to disappear into the ceiling for a few minutes, and she then decided not to. So go figure. Anyway, so I'm just carrying on wiring this up with somebody not helping. I have sort this out. I have played around with some of the bits and pieces here. I've stretched some cabling around. I've relocated a few bits. So she wandered off over there now. So I had some of the wires were a bit too short. What happened when I was soldering the feed wires onto the points, I just used the bits of wire I had left over. Some of them weren't long enough. Again, this is one of those, if you're putting a point here and it's going to go here, this is the sort of wiring length you want with a suitable, you should leave this sort of allowance as spare wire. And I'm using a lot of offcuts now, so I need to do feed 11. Which is going to come down here. About that long. Now these, I mean, yeah, this is probably the more tedious part of building a layout, is the wiring. You can, and Kelly's pointed out a few times actually, quite sensibly actually, you can cut a lot of this out. If you want to drive trains manually, and you only want to drive trains manually, you don't need half of this. You don't need all the block detection, you don't need the blocks. You really can get away with DCC being, it's just 2 wires. What I tend to find is it may well be just 2 wires. They do seem to be quite long wires that get cut into a great many lengths. So, yeah, there is that. Yes, I'm just checking which side of these I've got. I'm using the outer sides to go to the track bits. Oh, actually, I'll do the other end first to put the crimp on it. For example, I mean, if you're driving a layout manually, you may decide the only bits you actually want some block detection on or some sensors of some description are tunnels. Any hidden bits of track. So you just wire that, don't bother wiring the rest up. If you don't want signals, I mean, I'm going to have signals that are not exactly automated on the layout. Semi-automatic. Fail-safe. There's going to be things like you can't clear a signal if the route isn't set, but it's not going to clear automatically, is sort of the idea. So that sort of logic needs a little bit of understanding as to where things are, but it's not massive. It goes into there. May have mentioned it, Merg changed the screw heads on these. They used to be black and the connectors were slightly larger, a little bit easier to get the things into. Now they're not. So that's going to come down here. That goes into this terminal block as feed 11. And so 10 is basically the goods yard point work. 11 is the carriage siding point work on this board. There's going to be a goods yard point on the other side as well. So that's the feeds done. I now need to connect feeds 11 and 12 to up here. And I do them 2 at a time. Basically because I can run them both out the same cable then. So, so these come off the common brown feed. I want 2 lengths of this that are about the same. I've got 2 lengths of this that are about the same. Hoping I do. There we go. Got the other offcut. And just trim those. Because what I'm going to do is put them both into the same fork terminal. Fairly straightforward. Strip one end, twizzle it. Same on the other bit of wire. Twizzle that. Then bring them up here so you can see what I'm doing. Together, twist those around each other. I say you can put a 3rd wire in this. You can solder it if you want. Don't. Or I say don't. I know some people say do. I say don't. as I said, you make the wires brittle, and then you just put them into a crimp terminal. Do that. 2 wires on one fork. Yeah, nose is itching. 2 wires on one fork terminal, and then I'm going to put the bootlace ferules on the other end. Now I'm not using feed 12 yet. I will be, but powering the input side of it up like this now means I don't have to do it later. So for once, I am actually slightly thinking ahead. Slightly. I don't want to make a habit of that. No good will come of it. Smudge appears to now have cleared off. She's got bored. Yeah, I've just heard her going upstairs. Delights. So yeah, I'm actually getting to the point here of this layout's not got much left to do in terms of track. Once all of these are in, I'm going to have to commission it all, which sounds grandiose, but what it actually means is just configuring all the point servos and that sort of gubbins. There's one of the few uncouplers on the layout that works over here. I think there's only 2 at the minute. There's going to be a load more. That was servo number 13. It's now servo number 16. And this matters. Before I can put this layout back together, and before I can put the servos in, I need to power it up again, because I've got to change the software to tell it the new servos exist and to center them on startup. Otherwise, when it powers up, it's going to go right over to one side, and that will break something. There's no ifs or buts about that. That will break something. So before the servos go in, the hardware needs to be ready for them. So that can then go into there. Screw that up. Literally. I've been screwing things up most of my life, but there we go. Right, now in theory, that's all the brown connectors sorted out. So what I can do is grab hold of my multimeter, and I'm just going to check. It's in bleepy mode. What I'm going to do is just check all the brown connectors should be commoned. If I can get a good contact, that is. Yeah. And they're all common because they're all on the same DCC bus. There's no switching logic involved in here. What I've done is I've just powered the whole thing up. Right, the next step, before it can go back together, well, there's 2 more things I need to do. I need to connect the servos. And as I said, there's obviously these... I say the servos aren't... Well, there's no servos on the board. The relays are actually powered. So I could, as long as I configure it and I remember to change the point on JMRI and change the point on here, I can drive trains on them. Power these up. To do that, I need some wire. Oh, it's over here. But the way I do it is... Cat running about again. Meow. What are you doing? Not sure what she's doing, but there we go. The key bit though, the feeds from the relay, the brown feeds, these are the ones I measure, can't go to the common bus. They have to go via the block detection board, which is why I've got this little terminal board down here for them. They all go onto 10, which is useful because I've got several connectors there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out which, do I need the normally open or the normally closed turnout for whichever way the turnout is normally going to be. This means when it's in its usual position, the relay doesn't draw any power, which is useful. So I'm going to do these one at a time. This here is... yes, 14 isn't connected yet. The reason 14 isn't connected is because I've run out of the appropriate green wire. So for now, I'm going to bodge it using a blue length of wire, which is wrong, but the alternative is I just don't wire anything for the rest of the day. So I'm going to be doing it with this blue wire. But yeah, so I'm going to hook all these up so I can drive them. What I need to do, so I get the layout back together without the servos. Although I do have the servos. They also need setting up. I need to calibrate them, center them, and all that sort of stuff. But before I can do that, something else I need to do. Yeah, this has got to come back on. All the software's got to be set up. But while I'm doing that, I can test the block detection works. I can drive trains on the new better track, even without the servos in. So that's what I'm going to do. So that is 14 from there up to here. And this wire can be left as quite a long length of wire because it's a temporary piece of wire. This will get changed at some point. I'm not, it might not. I've got, oh no, I do have more points I've got to wire, so I will end up getting some. I was just thinking, if I've got no more points to do I need any more green wire? And yes, I've got 3 more points to wire up, so I do need some more. So that's how I'm going to do that. This comes into the contact. So if you've never used relays for controlling frogs, I mean, you can use the auto frog things. They work perfectly. I'm not saying don't use them. I just found one of these boards to be a lot cheaper, and I'm a cheapskate at heart. This is why I'm using my own system for a lot of this. It is just cheaper. If I can get, that's better. Tighten that up nicely. So yeah, that's really all I'm driving this with. But if you're used to using auto frogs, you just obviously wire all that up and away you go. Nice and simple. With this stuff, you do have to make sure you get it all the right way round. That hangs down a bit. Hopefully not too much. Right. So now, wire these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire all of the brown side first. So, one of those. And I just need to check which way these relays are. Nothing to actually squeak at me. Is it that one and that one? It is. It's just so I know which the normally open contact is, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do number 15 first. So I come around here, I look at the track for number 15, and it's straight through. Is the lower feed, which means the frog wire needs to be the brown connection. So what I'm going to need to do is take a brown wire from 15's terminal there. Frog 15 is that bit there, which is block 11. And that then has to come down here into block 11, which is that one. So that's relatively straightforward to do. I just need to make a little connector like that. And then it forms part of that circuit. I'm going to get the rest of this done. We're going to come back when it sits on the board and we can do something more interesting involving a train. Catch you in a few minutes. Okie dokie, back. Slight problem. It's only a slight one. This point I can't wire in. There's a short circuit on it. I suspect what I've done is I've left one or both of those, the little metal strips that sit on the back that I have to remove. I've left one or both of those on. Yeah. She has returned. Yes, hello. Yes, the push. Yes. So that one's not connected. The board's coming off again anyway, so it's not a massive problem. The rest are wired in. I built another one of these little jumper boards. So the 2 new signals are wired in. Obviously, it all needs configuring. Up here, point 15, that's the one that I'm going to be taking out. So that one's empty. All the other terminals have been filled in. It's all tie wrapped. All the orange lighting leads come down here. So what I need to do now is put this on. Shift mini new out the way again. You're in the way. You are. You're under my feet. Yes, you. Underfoot. Yes, cat. Stripey push. Yes, anyway. The stuff on here, that doesn't matter. I just need to make sure there's nothing metal on the rails. Put this back on and then test it. And as I say, I should... the lights will come on the signals, I hope. I should then be able to test this driving trains on it. So I'm going to put it on. Catch you in a sec. Okay, board is back in. See, here are. The board is fitted. If we come over here, the new signals light up. GMI can control them, sort of. If I just park you there, I should be able to go. Let me just find out where they are. Tools, tables, turnouts. They're controlled as turnouts at the moment, so do that. Change that one and that one. That's as far as that goes. There's nothing else set up there. These points obviously are still manually controlled. There's no servos under them at all. However, their servo relays do work. So if I come over here, I've added them to JMRI. I'm going to have to redraw the whole panel again. Let's move it all down to get things to fit. But I can control these and I get relays clicking. So now I need to do a little bit of testing with Mr. Bleepy. And what we're going to do is check the continuity is what it should be. The track is powered off, so I should be able to do this. So if I go, that rail should touch that one. And it does. Yes, because the way the point's set. Doesn't touch there. That touches there. Doesn't touch there. Right. So this frog should be connected to this rail, which it is, and not to that one. And if I now tell that to change, which is that, I have to manually click it. It should now be connected to the outer one, which it is, and not to the inner one. Check these other ones as well. So I've got, move back a bit. This one, on the outer rail, not the inner rail. Change. Now connects this side, not this side. Now it doesn't matter which way that's connected, because there's an insulating gap here. Well, I say it doesn't matter. If that's set wrong and the train drives over it, it'll short circuit. So it does matter, but it doesn't matter, if that makes sense. This point is set currently for dead ahead. So frog should connect to that side. It does. Not this side. Tell that change. Manually change it so I can remind me. It's now connected. So with that done, that is currently set for a train to ride in. I'm just going to reset these so that they match what I've got on my screen. I should now be able to drive a train onto this bit. Can't go down to this board yet because this point on, I mean, apart from that, there's a gap here. I put my hand in. This board here is not powered yet. That's a future me problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set some points. I'm going to turn track power on. Nothing's shorted out. At least I don't think anything's shorted out. And I'm going to bring a train up, or a locomotive. The only one I've got lined up at the moment is Cheshire. all the rest of them are elsewhere. So she's got the indignity of running into a goods yard. See how well this goes. So she's going to come in down here over this new crossover, I hope. This is also going to test the block detection on the new section. Oh, which has gone live as well. Perfect. So if I now say to that, I should now be able to back her up. Oh, is it going to work? It does. Excellent. So I can send her off back down to where she needs to go. Change that. Manually flick that. And Cheshire can depart. I'm quite pleased with that. It's working. I'm slightly surprised. I'm slightly amazed, but it is working. There's more to do. I'm just parking her up. I can get her out of the way. Done. And reset my points back to as they should be. Which gives, I mean, like that one's now green, red. Obviously these two here are still red because they aren't connected to anything. So, what's next? This is Friday. This video is going to be going out Saturday. I'm not here Saturday. Maybe a bit in the evening. So nothing else is getting done today except that point is going to get lifted. And the reason that point is going to get lifted is this one is because I suspect I know exactly what's wrong with it. It should be a relatively straightforward fix if I can find my ruler, which I can. So I'm just going to go around the other side and I'm going to sort that out. And the reason I want to sort this out now is because I've got to lift the point. Lifting the point means I'm going to have to glue the point back down again. So if I do this now, I can come back to it tomorrow and we should be all right. This is going to cause a slight problem. This piece of plastic all the way across here is a single piece. So I'm going to have to cut this piece. Shouldn't be a massive job to do it. I shall use my knife, it'll be easier. This is because this piece of plastic is going to have to be raised at the same time. Slightly annoyingly, I'm then going to have to reposition all of this because I'm going to have to... actually, I can possibly, I'm very lucky. No, I'm going to have to lift them all. This is all super glued together as a mess at this end. So what I'm going to have to do is this. This is an entirely self-inflicted wound. Are they going to come up? Ooh, they're going to come up off the plastic. No, they're not. Plastic's just split underneath it. Never mind, I'll do it this way. Whee. Slide this under here like so. That's that side of it done. And we lift the point. So yeah, this is entirely a self-inflicted wound. If it's the problem I think it is, which I strongly suspect it will be. So be careful not to break the frog wire as I sever the glue. Yeah, I've left the metal clips in, or at least I strongly suspect I've left the metal clips that live under the insulating join in the middle. So if I lift that up a bit, and what to do is lift this bit down here. A few bits out of the way, and obviously I'm then going to have to realign all of this afterwards. I see the problem. Not all of the sleepers I put down. Yeah, there we go. That should be it. All the sleepers I put down are actually glued to the plastic strips. Some of them are glued to the board itself. So, yes. Never mind, it'll all get stuck back down again. Right, that's that. So I should be able to lift this. Yeah, there we go. Look underneath. And lo and behold, the two metal clips are still in place. So the first thing I'm going to do is clean this glue off. Which is again, see this again is the delight of using copy decks. Firstly, I can lift the track. And secondly, I can remove the copy decks. You just literally just rub it and it comes up. Lovely and rubbery. Yeah, I shall avoid the slightly the old joke about somebody saying this track. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not saying it. It might offend some people, and it's not that funny anyway. So let's have a look. I shall leave that to your imaginations. Yes, lift this. I need to remove the old copy decks because obviously I'm going to be sticking new copy decks down over the top in a second. I'd rather rub that bit up. As long as I can get it lined up properly, it won't be a problem. What I have to do is bring this board in, which I wasn't going to, but I'm going to have to. There we go. Because I'm going to have to line up with that. So what I need to do is get the kniff and take these two bits out. What I've essentially done, I'll show you. Hello, cat. Cat has returned. I've left the two little metal bridges in there, so I've got to take those out. So let's do that. Yeah, so entirely self-inflicted wound there, as expected. And I could, and I was thinking about, I'm not going to do. My bit of heat shrink has decided not to. Yeah, here we are, a bit of heat shrink that's it's supposed to be protecting this join, and it decided it didn't want to. So I'm going to put this back in. Fairly straightforward. I'm just going to make sure it lines up with the two other bits of track. Which again, shouldn't be a huge problem to do. It's slightly discoloured the paint where it was, so it shouldn't be too hard to do. Yeah, so this point isn't powered up. I can't drive trains over this yet. To be honest, I can't get trains to it yet, so it's not that big a problem. It's going to get done, however. That's going to need a bit more super glue fitting to it, but never mind. And that then goes down into these holes. Down it goes. And then this here gets put back. And track power is on. This bit's not powered, so I can get away with this. Because what I'm going to do is fit the alignment jig into there. That should line it up. Just need to get the positioning spot on with this, because otherwise it will be a fiendish derailment device. So that one and that one. And that needs pressing down. And the easy way of pressing it down, put some weight on it. Yeah. I'll put it back in the thing. The hardest bit about working down here so far today has been not treading on Smudge's tail. She's got a lovely habit of deciding to sit down and lay down near your feet. And just this tail just comes out and goes, I'm going to wrap round your toe. Yes. Anyway. So that's it for this video. I've now got the goods yard entrance track powered up. The block detection is powered up. I've got block detection on this road here, which is feed number 9. That also works. All of this new track is feed 11. Feed 10. This is feed 11, which will be powered up tomorrow. Is what I'm hoping. I'll either do it tomorrow night or Sunday. It'll be in the next video. What I'm also going to do is fit the point servos. I'm going to try and get this board done. This is the idea. Well, I've got the siding tracks to put in, so go figure. What I'm going to do with the siding tracks is I'm going to make one of these sidings. Don't know which one. It's probably going to be the one that comes off here, that gets the good shed on it. And I'm just going to put metal fish plates and I'm just going to lay it down. It's not going to be cut. It's not going to be pushed to size or anything like that. But it'll give me a 3-foot siding I can put a train into. So, yay. And it'll be removable. That's then this board, board L, for now, done. I've got a signal for platform 4 departure. Need to sort that out. I've got a signal for the goods yard departure. Need to sort that out. I do need to put some more holes in for platform lighting. I am going to do that. I'm probably not going to do that this weekend, though. I think I'm going to leave that. I need to print some more bits of platform. So, yes. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll catch you all in the next video. Thank you very much, and goodbye.